Business NTV.
Yeah, viewers, welcome to the show. It's once again the Business X-Ray Show, and we're here this Sunday to again speak business, talk business, and we have a very, very interesting topic we are still unpacking, and that is still the topic of building business resilience. And as our modus operandi is, we have an entrepreneur in the studio who's going to share her story in business, and from that we're going to pick very, very important lessons, key learnings. And again, in the studio, we have a business development support expert, and that's none other than our partners, Enterprise Uganda. We have the captain himself, Charles. You're most welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
Very good. Thank you. And our guest is none other than Isabella. Isabel, you're most welcome to the show.
Thank you, Charles. I'm so happy to be here.
Beautiful. So just before we delve into what we want to talk about, I just want you to introduce yourself properly to the people. We have a video montage of Isabel where we're going to see what she does, but I want her to actually say it as we go into that space.
Thank you, Charles. My name is Isabel Agol. I'm born of Soroti. I'm an entrepreneur. I love business. I am the CEO and founder of Naroho Company Limited. We are a social enterprise that empowers young girls in Uganda to make amazing leather products through training and job creation. I'm also the COO of Allen Denny and Sagittari Investments. Sagittari Investments is a venture I am just starting, where we want to empower farmers in Arua to really increase their honey production. So that's something we're just starting, so it's still in the works. Thank you.
Thank you, Isabel. So I'm going to ask my producer to just give us a montage. You know, sometimes, Charles, talking is one thing,
Yes.
and doing is another.
Yes.
And now the beauty of TV is that you don't tell the story, you show the story.
Very
So let's start there. I'm going to ask my producer to play that very short montage of Isabel's operations, and then we'll pick the discussion from that.
Hello, my name is Isabella Gold. I'm the founder and CEO of Naroho Company Limited. Naroho is a Kiswahili word meaning with character, passion, soul. When I was starting a business, I wanted to do something that I was passionate about, something that I would put all my energies, and something that would motivate me to really wake up every morning. Naroho started sometime in 2014. I was expectant with my daughter. I was walking on the streets of Kampala. I saw a leather sandal that I really liked, but at the time, I couldn't spare the money because I was saving for childbirth. So with my background in industrial art and design, I decided to make the sandal. So I bought materials, managed to make 6 pairs of sandals, marketed them to my friends and colleagues at Nasa Road, because at the time I had a small briefcase business, printing for companies. So the sandals sold out. With the proceeds, I continued buying more materials and working from our living room at the time. After about 3 months of production, my partner at the time was not comfortable with me working in the living room. So I decided to move to my sister's outside kitchen since there was a free space there. The production increased from then on, which led me to making 1 leather bag for myself. A friend saw it and they just told me, you know what, how much is the bag? They gave me the money for the bag and gave me a paper bag to put my stuff in. So basically that's how Naroho started. So after about 2 years working in my sister's kitchen, I was able to buy one sewing machine. But by then I started getting more orders. That's when I made the decision to make the business formal. I registered the business in 2016, got a space on Nasa Road, put in my one machine, my one working table, and I started working off Nasa Road. The brand Naroho really is all about the quality. How we've managed to build a brand, first of all, is through word of mouth. Most of our clients we started with, they would see our products, they like the quality, they buy the product, so they would tell their friend who also needed a leather product, then they'll buy. And we've just kept on moving with that brand value to just show our clients that with Naroho products, they get the best quality. With our slogan of authentic confidence, we set out to give our clients a product that they can really be proud of, that is made in Uganda. So to also make our business different and to maintain the quality that we really needed, I had to make the conscious decision to pay it forward by training other women who are or have been in a situation that I was when I started business. So I collaborate with orphanages, other training institutions, like people who are teaching girls tailoring. So we get the girls after, and then we introduce them into leatherwork. We teach them the ethics of Naroho, which is quality first. They have to take their time while producing the product, but also be mindful of how they're producing product. What has also really helped us in the business, in how we do business, is the aspect of collaboration. 3 years ago, I was able to go to Olibate factory, which was in Ethiopia by then, under the management of Mr. Ferrao Kebedi. I had a 1 week's intensive training in shoemaking, but also how they managed to keep their products and their ethics of having a fair trade product. In Uganda, I also collaborate with a lot of colleagues in the same sector. So after COVID, there's really been a challenge of sourcing for raw materials. So what I did, I teamed up with Seco Designs. Since they order in bulk, I was able to also order with them due to the fact that I couldn't order the huge quantities that the factories need us to order. I'm a very ardent and passionate advocate for economic development. So when I started Naroho, I wanted to be economically empowered. And I find that so many young women, young girls, face so many challenges due to their situation that they are not economically empowered. So my major aim with Naroho is to create a company that is empowering young women in a transparent manner, but also really empowering them to be self-reliant, self-sustainable, and make choices in life that push them forward. So we also really set out to work out with companies that are mindful about the planet. I have taken the opportunity and the chance to really look into where our leather comes from. I've visited like 10 tanneries in East Africa and Ethiopia as well, where I've seen the processes that they use for tanning the leather. So we really are mindful to choose leather that is tanned using the least amount of chemicals, and that kind of leather is good for the planet. And we minimize waste in the factory as much as we can. From the onset, Naroho decided we'll target the corporate clients. Due to the effort and the time we put in our products, we felt that these are the right people who would appreciate the time that we give the product and the quality that we're giving the market. So we make products ranging from leather bags, which are in the fashion accessory sector. We've collaborated with people who make furniture, like Mugavu, where they do the wood accents and then we add the leather aspects of the furniture. Corporate clients are one big client we're really targeting this year. So we would like corporates to give meaningful gifts, gifts that last, gifts that when someone gets it, they are actually going to use it for quite some time. Starting out with one machine, one table, in a living room setting. Naroho has grown to have like 5 leatherworking machines right now, with help from both partners and well-wishers, and mostly our clients who keep buying our products. We've also been able to secure an export order to Japan from one client who we collaborated with in Uganda, was selling in her shop. When she closed the shop, she decided she wanted to take our products to Japan. So right now we have a few running orders with her, which we actually do every month. Leather being our main raw material, it's really been a challenge to source. I know so many people ask, yeah, but isn't there leather in Uganda? The challenge with that, so most of the leather in Uganda is semi-processed. The tanneries process it up to wet blue, which is the middle stage of processing. So what happens, these tanneries export that wet blue to various countries for finishing. So that's why I had to visit tanneries in Kenya, Ethiopia, to try and see which source can I best use for getting leather. With the potential in the sector to grow and the company, our future plans would really like to set up a training facility as well as a production center. And we're really looking for people to collaborate, partner with, to make this a reality.
Welcome back, viewers. Well, that's the story of Isabel, and we're seeing she's into leather designing and production, and quite interesting a story. But I need to state this fact for viewers to actually put this in context. If you look at the records, global records, Uganda has some of the best hides and skins. Now the question or the main issue is on value addition and the business around it.
Correct.
How far do we move in
Correct.
the value chain of hides and skin?
Very
and I think, Charles, maybe you can put that a bit in perspective.
Yeah.
You're the expert in this area of business development.
Yes.
And in addition to some of the few, the digest you picked from Isabella's.
The story of Isabel is a very good story for this country.
Yeah.
Largely because there's a way we treat the hides and the skins from livestock as a byproduct that can be mishandled.
Yeah.
By the time you're even slaughtering the animal, you are not minding about the hide or the skin.
True.
You are simply concentrating on the meat. How the knife moves around, you are not bothered.
Yeah.
Finally, you have released this skin, and it's like a wastage, disturbing thing, because you wanted to reach the meat. The skin was a disturbing barrier. So you just pack it somewhere there. And yet, from the time you remove it from a live animal, it must begin to receive attention, short of which deterioration begins.
Yeah.
That's true.
But you can see how this lady's story brings out elements that I truly love Ugandans to appreciate. This lady goes for her training at a university, goes for fine art, industrial art, comes out and says, here am I, a normal person. But as she's moving around, she sees beautiful leather sandals. She wants some, not easily available. Triggers her mind and says, but the thing is, a designing of a raw material called a skin or a hide. Can't I pick a few and I design them?
Yeah.
So you can see openness of the mind, desire to get yourself to become of value was what pushed this lady to become now. When you now see Isabel, you see a person of leather items. But where did it come from? A trigger of some desire of a certain solution.
Yeah.
And then she begins to see it connects with my training. Now the issue of capital comes in. What does she do? Start with one machine. Start where you are located. Use your own accommodation. The very sitting rooms that we have can begin to give you opportunity to create a workspace where you are. Then comes the next item. Is what you are producing with a lot of fear and timidity, or are you saying, this is a beautiful thing, I love it? She produces her own bag, moves around with it, a friend sees it and says, this is beautiful, how much is it? She's given a price. A sale takes place. And the sale is taking place not because somebody says, I sympathize with you, Isabella, please, let me just give you some money, I take your bag. Says, I love this bag.
It's not charity.
The bag is taken, and she goes out with a pumping heart saying, if this can be done, can't I make more? And she gets herself into the market space. The key point there is, go to the market space with a solution for somebody. Then from there, what does she do? She continues in the space of people who know her, friends, relatives. Many times you think, oh, when I start my business, I'm going to put a signpost somewhere. There's those foreign fellows who don't know me. They are going to come looking for the things. You came from somewhere. Those individuals who know you should be the first to say, please give me those eggs. Give me those watermelons. But you are putting a signpost with an idea that all these fellows who have been my neighbors, these are not customers. They are those very unique people somewhere out there. Beautiful story.
Beautiful indeed. Beautiful indeed. And I think, you know, the story of value addition is quite critical here.
It is.
Because many a time, you know, when you mention going into the leather industry, someone will have this huge, grand idea. You get. And I mean, anyone who is really keen on fashion knows how much leather goes for. I can imagine how much Isabel can, you know, sell a bag. A pure leather bag.
Correct.
You get.
And the pride people who buy.
Yes.
Want to mention that my bag is a leather bag. Oh my God.
I think that's quite interesting. But we're here, since we have her in the studio, I'd like to pick it from you, Isabel, because I mean, you went to university, you did industrial art. And I know today one of the challenges this country is grappling with is the huge number of graduates. You know, they have the skill. Because that's where you pick the skill. I didn't even, I don't have to ask you where you pick the skill. Rather the skill in fashion. But, you know, turning that into something is, you know, always a Herculean task for many of them. How did you scale that, you know, to say, yes, I have this, now I want to turn it into a business where you sit today?
I think, especially for art, that's a really big challenge. So you noticed, I know we've worked together, so you noticed this wasn't straightforward. So after university, just like any artists, at that time, you're not so sure how the ground is going to be. So you end up looking for other jobs. So I got a job in sales at New Vision. Then somehow I ended at NTV.
And I must tell our viewers, actually, I worked with Isabel here, and she was in sales, I was in editorial.
So somehow I ended up at NTV. But even during this period of work, I grew up with a mother who was passionate about business. And we're always in her business space. She owned a popular restaurant in Soroti called Silent Night.
A very popular one.
So we were always there, either serving customers or handling cash. So we have that background in business. So even when I was at NTV, I opened up a small curio shop. And I started sourcing for crafts from Kenya to sell in the shop. But the idea clicked that time as well. But why don't we produce things in Uganda? You know, because we get a lot of tourists. But when you go there, you're buying stuff from Kenya. So moving forward, when I saw this sandal, I think everything just came together. Because I think subconsciously, that curio shop idea was still in my mind. And then now putting it together with the sandals, I decided, you know what, let's just try this. it wasn't, and it's not my first business idea. I've failed before, but because I've tried and I've failed, I was just like, well, what's the worst that could happen? Again.
Correct.
So, but I didn't like also start it immediately and say, okay, I'm starting this, I'm leaving everything. I was doing briefcase printing, I was making sandals for 1 week, selling for the next week, while printing for clients, getting money from here. So it's not automatic that whatever you start with, that's what will click.
I hear you. Tell us the experience that those first days, your days in business. Now you've made a decision, you're saying, this is the route I'm taking.
Yes.
You have the courage, given your background in business, and you're like, I'm in it.
Yes.
Because I've seen many people who start with a lot of enthusiasm. You know, maybe they've listened to, you know, some motivational speech somewhere, and they're like, I'm going for this. Then after testing it for maybe a week or so, you know, they're running out and they don't want to hear anything around that. So how did you manage that, you know, to actually stay in? Because I know sometimes the beginning is not easy.
Yeah, that's very true. So the beginning is usually not easy, but how I managed to stay in, taking it one day at a time. When I started the business, I still had a job opening because I was called back to NTV to continue with the sales. So in the back of my mind, that was still there. But when I was doing business, one day would really be bad, then I would say, it would even be a week, I was like, you know what, I have a job. Why don't I go back? Yes. But usually I would find like the next day I come back to work, I receive an order.
Yes.
So then that would motivate me,
Yes.
you know, to give it a few more days.
Yes.
So that really kept me doing the business and balancing.
Beautiful. Charles, what do you think from here?
Excellent, excellent. Right from in the course of her words, she mentioned something interesting that we as parents need to take care of. She said Mom was a business person and made sure that her children appreciated business. The conversation you have at home, the ideas you keep emphasizing at home, they plant a seed, you have no idea when they will germinate. So do you think of Isabel now beginning to become resilient? She can be reflecting on how the business of the restaurant of Mommy has been performing. And unconsciously she begins to appreciate that those challenges are part of the game. So it is important as parents for us to begin to have this conversation with children early.
They're young, yes.
They may get jobs, don't stop them. They may be taking opportunities that are totally away from what you have been doing, a restaurant. They go to something else, don't stop them. But it matters to plant that seed as early as possible as a parent. The other thing was that the so-called the first business is your ideal business. You rest on it and you continue to call yourself, I'm a dealer in leather products. The journey is going to be circuitous. In between there are no orders, but there are beautiful products in your room. People are not ordering. But you have all this time in your hands. Use it to solve another problem and another one and another one. As orders begin to build up here, you begin to narrow the range of things you are doing. So it's not evil, it's not wrong for you to be doing this, to be doing that, provided you have sufficient time to serve a happy customer. That thing is key. Each time somebody comes in, they're happy. You've sold these leather products, but for a full 3 weeks, no order has come through. But the good products are in the store. If you are now doing the printing, do a good job. Don't just say, I'm just doing this for the sake of waiting for, I mean, really, I want leather products. No. Go for printing with 100% happiness to make that customer happy.
Beautiful, beautiful.
And the other thing about it is, as you do all these bits and number of enterprises, you are building the credentials for you to later begin to become steady and firm in a particular direction.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Isabel, I'll come back to you on this. You know, the industry where you sit is really, it's a niche market, for lack of a better word. Because not everyone can afford leather. And with niche markets, you know, there's a lot of attention to quality, class, and therefore the issue of brand. you know, comes in capital letters.
Yes.
How did you handle that aspect of branding and ensuring that you're not only selling leather bags or leather wallets,
Yes.
but you're selling Isabella wallets or something?
And especially with now people who are good at imitations.
Yes. Yeah.
Get something very close and similar, and then just say, this is leather.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
Yes.
I think from the onset, so my business started with me.
Yeah.
Actually, the first bags I made were not machine stitched.
Okay.
They were hand stitched by me.
Interesting.
So I took the time to make sure the lines are straight. The structure of bag is perfect. You know? Even the sandals, the first sandals, I stitched every single line.
Interesting.
So when people would come and see the product, they're like, in fact, they used to say it's not made in Uganda.
Yes.
They would say, no, these sandals are not made in Uganda. When I shifted to Nasa Road, they saw the process. So they started to appreciate. So when more clients started buying the product, my sister told me, you know what? What's missing? You have the name, you have everything. You have to start stamping on your products.
Yeah.
You need to put the name on your products. So she went to China. I told her, you know what, when you go, you'll buy me a machine. I looked for the one with the lowest price at the moment, because that's what I could get.
I hear you.
But just to make sure that the product has the name on it. So she brought me the machine. I started branding the product. Then another challenge came up. Now you're getting more orders. You can't sew everything.
I hear you. By hand.
By hand, we got a machine. Now, then you start bringing other people to help you do the work. And this is where it starts getting muddy.
Now, just hold it there. Because on the issue now of standardization.
Yes.
But on the issue of branding, tell us what happened when, you know, we want to look at the situation when you're just selling leather bags or a leather wallet. And then at that point when you put a stamp and say, this is it. So what did you see? What changed in your business at that particular moment?
So first, my friends started recognizing. So someone would just call me and say, oh, we've seen your bag. And I'm like, what shows it's my bag? They say, first of all, we know you're stitching. So that would be the first thing.
Very good.
But then I'll tell them, can you look for our brand? Then they will go closer to the person and see the brand. And they're like, yeah, it is your bag. So then people just started recognizing that, oh, Isabel is the go-to person for well-made leather bags.
Beautiful. Charles, what do you pick from here? Especially on the issue, because we've talked about branding and selling items or commodities.
Very good. You know, we've seen people say government is imposing standardization onto us, formalization onto us. The story of Isabel will tell you that the moment you build an entrepreneur with a certain mindset to create impact in the marketplace, naturally the issue of formalization will begin to come in. Leaving home and going to a NASA road. You don't need to tell her now that, please, this is sitting room now is small, you now move away. She will automatically see it. Two, the issue even of standardization and even going for quality, it is easier for her to appreciate UNBS, to appreciate differences in quality, because it is value adding for her in the marketplace. So to me, the biggest thing we need to be telling our country and our entrepreneurs is that whatever we're doing as we push you into formalization, we want you to go there to benefit, not to please government, not to please anybody. You go there to benefit. And as we push them that route, let us push them to that route at their levels of development. If you had pushed her from day one, before we see any leather product made by you, we want to see your office. We want to see your business registered. We want to see that you have also got workers who are registered with NSSF. We want, up to now, she would be still waiting for more capital.
That's right.
So all the things, you shape them as you move. But please, it is automatic for an entrepreneur to do all the things that we feel the law is the one you need to use.
Yes, because the dynamics will push you there.
They will take her there.
Yes. The
Now
market
she's
will demand.
exporting.
Yes.
She wants to export
Yeah.
with an identity.
Yeah.
And branding.
Knowing that China is going to the same export market.
Yes.
How will mine be different?
Yeah.
Look at the inner part of her bag. It has got that African fabric
True,
and
true.
African colors.
True.
Now, somebody in the US should know that this came genuinely from Africa.
Yeah. I hear you.
You know? So the moment you brand and you put those kind of things,
Yes.
it is in our interest to register without even you saying there's a law.
Yeah.
I hear you. Actually, the whole idea is to create that enabling environment for
Exactly.
her to thrive and reach that point.
Correct.
Beautifully, beautifully put. Now, Isabel, one of the issues which a number of entrepreneurs tend to struggle with is when they start now to bring, especially those that are in the area where you are, because it requires a lot of individual attention to detail, and that workmanship,
Yeah.
you know, mastering that craft of stitching, having those lines straight. Because I mean, I wouldn't want to have my leather bag, which is going to come at a premium, you know, with a line that is, you know, here and
Yes,
there.
exactly.
You get it. I want it. Now, trouble normally comes in when you now grow and you're starting to recruit and having these workers toe the line
Yeah.
or respect the principle or do the work the way you want it.
Yes.
How did you handle that? How are you handling that particular aspect?
That's that's still a very big challenge. Though my initial, so how we started getting in other people to help. So I would go to TCFC, that's Training Common Facility Center, 6th Street. And then I would pick people who are already making leather products.
Interesting.
The
Okay.
challenge came when, so they've been trained by someone else. So when they come into your establishment, they're going to come with the mindset of their former place.
Yes.
So after a while, I saw that wasn't going to work for me. So I decided, why don't I start training young girls on my own? Taking them through the initial basics of a line has to be straight. You know, this is leather. You can't stitch and open like we do with fabrics. You know,
Yeah.
we stitch one line, it has to be straight.
I hear you.
So it was starting from that aspect where I even tell them, before stitching on leather, let's start training with Manila paper
Yeah.
until you get a straight line. It's still an ongoing process,
Yes.
but just that has now helped us to know that, okay, the line has to be straight, the work has to be done carefully.
Yeah.
Because the issues of finding glue, pen marks, all those are things that water down your product. If someone was going to buy it for 500,000, one dot of a pen mark will discourage them.
Yeah, or glue
Or
drying
glue
at the
drying
corner.
out and it's not cleaned out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So now that's why I prefer the model of bring people who are not trained in leather,
Tool them.
train them.
Yes.
In fact, we bring them in, give them a stipend for the months that they're training.
Yes.
We've accepted to take that course because we
Yes.
know what we're looking at the end.
I hear you.
You know, give them a small stipend. After like 3 months, see which department they're going to fall into. Because during the training period, you also figure out their strengths. Because someone might come in, you want them to stitch, but they're not really good at stitching.
Yeah.
They are very good with putting things together in a
Cutting,
neat way.
whatever.
So
Yeah.
it
Or
gives
they're
you that
good-
opportunity to also
Yes, to
understand it.
figure out where can I
Place the
put,
person.
place this person. So by the time you place them in an environment, they're comfortable. So instead of placing someone who doesn't have interest in stitching, they will never get the concept.
I get you. I get you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Isabel. Dear viewers, we have Isabel today. She's into leather design and fashion, and she's sharing her experience as a businesswoman. You can be part of this show if you have interest in joining that industry, but then also if you have you know, some questions and comments to make, you know, on the subject we are discussing today. Remember, we're still talking about business resilience.
Exactly.
And the way you build resilience in business. And I think, Charles, this is quite important. You know,
Very.
There are many resourced people out there.
Yeah.
And they've not gotten this chance or the courage. Sometimes the chance is there, but the courage to actually seize it. You know, I find it quite interesting there. That especially the trading element, because the number of small business operators, micro to small businesses, tend not to want to invest
in HR.
In HR and tooling their employees. It's mainly medium to large. And I pick a very important aspect here.
Yeah, and you know, if you are going to be into a product process and winning long term, you've got to establish what you call your key success factors in that space.
Yeah.
And listening to Isabel, you can see those areas very clearly. One of them is selecting people who do the stitching the right way. And I picked one word which he said, with a leather product, there is no repeat. When the line has burst, that is it.
True.
You can't undo the threads, then make it pass in another. You've lost that product.
Indeed.
So she says, that kind of precision is a must. Does it come automatically? No. Do we have many people who say we're looking for jobs everywhere? But to bring a person who fits the kind of standards you are talking about, hard work.
Indeed.
Hard work. And then do you know that it's hard work, and yet you don't know for how long you'll have this person. But because you want this leather bag to go out with that kind of a thing, do it. Do it. So remove all this thing of saying, you know, parole, maybe you'll not even be here tomorrow. Just do it. The customer would be happy to pay for that price. Do you see another thing that she talked about here? When she was commenting earlier on, she said, you want the best raw material. It's not easily available in Uganda because of the way we mishandle the raw materials. So she visited 10 tanneries in East Africa. Who pays for that? Yourself. Do you have that luxury of resources? No. If you don't pay that price, forget it. That again is a long-term view of your journey. If you're just looking for when can I get money, you know, Ugandans are saying I'm suffering, can I start tomorrow? Visiting 10 tanneries is not making sales. But you are building credentials that will make you make those sales consistently. Then she also goes ahead and says, you know what, even when you have gotten these materials and people are now becoming a bit of steady good workers, the word is consistency. You are into this top-notch product. The buyers of that product want something that they talk about. They don't talk about a bag, then they say, except this corner here was a bit badly finished, but this is my good leather bag. They say, this is my leather bag. I've had it for the last 7 years, and it has not changed.
And once your name is there, Charles, they will say, if it is, I mean, we can talk about the big global brands in design. Someone will tell you if it is, I won't mention them because I don't want to give them a free but if it is Charles's bag, it should be this.
Exactly.
And I think that's one of the areas where we're still lacking as a country. We, when it comes to that consistency you're talking about, and that she alluded to, we really tend to lose the plot from the high-end things, but even the best things. I mean, you go to a restaurant today, fish is tasting like this. Then tomorrow it tastes like it's rabbit meat.
Totally different.
So I think that is quite a big area to look into.
A big one. And it goes with a desire to have that long-term view for your enterprise, for your customers.
Beautiful.
In the end, it pays. But in between there, look at the visiting 10 tanneries. Somebody will be saying, what's happening with this girl? Is she getting mad? 10, what for? 2 even is a big story. Says, no, I saw the other one. I want to visit another one. Now she's talking about the challenge of buying raw materials. But you can't afford buying bulk. Now say, can't I get another person who's also importing? And team up. Solve your problems. So that's where their business mindset now begins to come in. You have been a good student of industrial art. you now have to begin the business mindset to come in.
Indeed.
This thing of saying repeating the works is losses. Now that comes to a business mindset. But it's okay to repeat the business, then get the right line, but after you have made 10 repeats, this business, by the time you are selling that bag, the losses are putting you out of the market.
Out of the business. Yes. Very good. Viewers, we're going to take a very short commercial break. When we come back, we'll be picking your, your views, your questions, and your comments. So just know we have some of the best people in the industry in this particular area. Of course, we have Isabel here, we have Charles, and we'll be picking those questions. We want you to be part of the show, but after this very short commercial break.
Time to believe and win with Coca-Cola and FIFA World Cup. Simply buy any Coca-Cola, Fanta, Sprite, Stony, or Novida 300ml glass bottle. Check for your unique code under the cap and send your code to 6688 to participate for free and stand a chance to win a trip to the FIFA World Cup in Qatar. TVs, decoders, phones, and airtime are also up for grabs. Believe and win big. Hashtag believing is magic. T's and C's apply.
Yes, girl, it's time to say yes. Say yes to the new look of confident mornings, of standing out of the crowd. Say yes to
Looking good
and feeling great too in 3 simple steps. Relax, set, glow. With the new look Radiant Relaxer infused with argan oil and aloe vera ingredients that gives you stronger, silkier, thicker hair. Radiant. Look good. Feel great.
Radiant is a brand of Morbid products.
Amanya gange nze ko businge Joani nsangiwa wano mu Lusanja nalindi awo ngenyote nnuma nengenda nengula kaloko bumbu nenkebera mu kasaanikira nempangula eggaali era bagirese era ndi musanyufu nnyo.
Enjoy as you win in the Twegateko promotion today. Call toll-free number 0800 299 008 and we'll deliver the prize to you. Terms and conditions apply.
Abatusooka baagereesanga nti okulaba ebinene si kuwangaala so ng'ate n'ennungi tezikya bbiri.
Twawanga siringi 88 ze siringi 24. Abaali bambala engatto kw'eryo essomero lyonna baali baana ba headmaster nange.
Naye ate wattu bikuwa ebyokunyumyako ntoko.
Emmotoka mwatu nagigula siringi 10. Awo omutima ne gugira betwa. Eyasooka kuddukira wansi ng'emmotoka.
Emboozi ezo ezikujjukiza eby'omu buto, obuvubuka ate n'obukadde.
Empewo yabeeranga nnyingi mutabani. Twaddiranga akajjo ne tukateeka mu kyoto n'okayisa mu mubiri nga bwe zifuumuuka ekikka.
Ebimu nno lugambo bugambo, nanti ow'olugambo omumanyi nnamunnungu waatuula waleka amaggwa.
Eriyo yajjanga ng'alina saati nga talina mpale teriiwo ate weeri.
Ebindi wamma bikwasa n'ensonyi okwogerako.
Naye nagenda okulabirawo omusajja nga ankwata jeeki ng'akwandika kunkuba.
Kati lindirira akanyomero ate akulaba mw'ogenda okuwuliriranga emboozi ezikwata ku bulamu bw'abantu abakuze mu myaka.
Nkugamba kyantwaliranga wiiki 2 okuyiga kukwata kalaamu.
Nga banyumya ebyo bye baalaba, bye baawulira ne bye baayitamu.
Emikono gyange gyagenderanga wano nga saagala koona ku mukazi weeri.
Buli lwa Sande ku NTV ku ssaawa emu okakase nti mazima ate akulaba yakugaya.
Welcome back, viewers. It's again the Business X-Ray Show, and we're looking at business resilience. In the studio today, we're looking at the story of Isabel. She's into leather products, design and fashion. And she's been sharing with us her story from, you know, the time she was at school. She did industrial art, you know, joined the sales team in the media world, and then found her balance in business, and to be specific, in the leather design and fashion business. Now, Isabel, before we went for the break, of course, you had painted for us a picture of the kind of business you're into and what sets you apart from the rest. Especially what I see and read from your submission is your attention to detail. I know in the industry where you are, it's quite important. It could be the reason why someone will say, you know, proudly, that I'm putting on a Swiss watch. Yes. Because of the attention to detail. Because leather products, really, by the time I buy a leather something, I want the best. So it brings in a question of competition, because you're not there alone, and the others who have been there for a long time. How do you handle competition? How do you stay competitive? Because in your industry, it's not just wishing. And like Charles normally says, people don't come to you for charity. No. And at that point, it's not charity indeed, because people want charity and not expect it in the leather world. How do you handle that?
So in Uganda, our major competition would actually be products from China.
Okay.
There are leather goods producers in Uganda, but we are a few. So actually the market needs more competitors. Because if more people join the sector, then getting materials becomes easier, getting hardware becomes easier. Now the Chinese products, I think from the onset, I decided what product and what client I want to get. So I went for people who appreciate leather, people who see a leather product in its raw form, and they're like, yes, that's what I want. So, because I would find most times people coming to me and say, oh, but your leather is so plain, why don't you add this button here, bling? And mindfully, I would just say, this is not my customer, because this is not what I make. So I would tell them, oh yeah, we could actually do that. And that also pushed me now to see, okay, if people want some hardware and products, which one can I integrate? You know, with my product, so that it again doesn't look like a different product. So I just decided, let me stay on my lane, let me make genuine leather products with brass, because brass hardware goes very well with the colors of leather, the tones and everything. Instead of silver, that shiny silver and gold, it's also again used in so many other leathers. So it's easy for people to mix it up and confuse your products. So it's just basically looking at my clients, looking at my product, and looking at what I really also wanted to make.
I hear you.
Like something I could hold. So I just decided, okay, it will be pure leather. I will add an African touch. That's probably kitenge. And I would market to my target clients.
Okay.
So initially, I think people were thinking, oh, but Isabel, this business is very good. You're making very nice products. You know, why aren't you advertising? Why aren't you out there? Why?
Good question from them.
Good question from them.
Yes.
But I also knew myself. One, I'm a perfectionist. And perfectionists, we tend to overthink everything. But that's good for the business. Because with leather, first of all, it's expensive. So if you spoil, those are your profits.
You feel it.
You feel it. So I just decided, let me go slow, focus on my target market, and just sell to my target market. And that's how I've built up to now, where a lady comes and says, oh, can you make for us, for our market?
I get you.
So what we do with her is she gives us her design, then we design it for her, and then we only make and sell for her.
Beautiful. Actually, you're going to expand more on that point, how you've been able, you know, to rake in the international market now. Because that's where we fell. you know, as Ugandan businesses. But before I get there, now, your interaction with Enterprise Uganda,
Yes.
where does it start and what is picked from there? And as you know, put that together, viewers, you're going to be part of this show. I'm going to ask my producer to flash that WhatsApp number so that you can forward your questions to Isabel and Charles. We'll be picking them in our last segment of this show. Yes, Isabel.
So with my mindset, business mindset, I think I first encountered Enterprise Uganda in 2006. When you were running those youth programs where they would call youth to come to Uma Hall, and then you'd have a training for a day. So I attended, I think, 1 or 2 of those. Then, like, you had a program of mentorship.
Yes.
There was a mentorship program again.
Yeah.
I worked with Enterprise Uganda on that. I got a mentor, Peter, from the UK,
Yeah.
who helped me with the financial aspects. Yeah, and then a friend again told me, oh, but Charles, I showed him your products, and he really likes them. So I can clearly say those are our interactions with Enterprise Uganda.
I hear you.
Yes.
So from those interactions and the training opportunities and all that, what did you pick that you feel has helped you, you know, in the business going forward?
So what I picked, because they would bring entrepreneurs to really talk to the budding young entrepreneurs, a few things I picked was really resilience. And then the nature of business didn't matter, because they brought people from different
backgrounds,
different business. But whatever they would say, you could see that the challenges are almost the same in almost all the sectors. The opportunities are also equally there. So for me, I was just like, okay, it doesn't matter what business you do, as long as you can overcome the challenges or work on the challenges each and every day.
Correct.
Look at your opportunity and run with it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Charles, this is where I bring you in before we go, you know, to Isabel's interactions and building bridges to now play in the international space. Of course, she talks about a very, you know, quite important aspect or several important aspects of, you know, managing the standard, staying in the business, the time she has been able to stay into it.
Yes.
But on her last submission, I don't know what you pick from that quickly before we go into this other area.
Very good. First of all, what you can get from the lady's experience or journey is that there is a need for people to get what we call the generic principle behavioral traits of an entrepreneur. Bring those ones out clearly. It doesn't matter which business you go in. Those elements are going to be met. Those challenges are going to be right there. So here's a lady who came from a background where the family had a restaurant. And probably in mommy's quiet, personal moments at night, she would be saying, I wish my daughter could become a manager of my restaurant or something like that. But here is a person you need to give opportunity to see what she could look at as her own low-hanging fruit. And she decided to ride on the qualities she acquired from industrial art, industrial training. Now, mommy shouldn't lose sleep over that. But as she goes there, she must go there with those basic traits of an entrepreneur. The element of persistence, the element of self-belief, the element of saying, I will remain a learner. Because those are things you can't detach an entrepreneur from. Look, she's now talking about competition. Who taught her that, please look at your competition and discover the Chinese are in the space? She could have just said, me, I'm going to concentrate on my leather and just produce whoever comes, let him come. I leave it to God. She says, no, there's somebody already doing this thing here. How do I differentiate myself
from the others?
That is an element an entrepreneur must be given a chance to absorb and live with.
I hear you.
Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful. So you now set your mind to the international market.
Yes.
With this opportunity that has come in. I know people who have got an opportunity and they run away from it. They look at it and they feel they can't bite and chew that thing. Then others will put their feet there and then at some point run out of it.
Yes.
Charles, here we've talked about people who have gotten contracts to supply certain things.
Yes.
And then when time comes, the phones are off.
Yes.
So, I mean, tell us how, when you get this opportunity, you know, that experience, that interaction, but then also what you've done to sustain and meet or fit the bill, as they say.
So we're formally registered in 2016. And as I've told the story, there are challenges along the way. So during that time, I wasn't even thinking of exporting. It was in the back of my mind that my product has to be for export.
Okay.
But because of the challenges, I was like, but I first have to fix this aspect of the business.
Yes.
Like raw materials. Because when an exporter comes, they'll ask you, I want a bag. These are the specifications. I want 500 pieces. How soon can I get it? So if you don't have answers to those questions, that's already a fail. So I've taken the time in the business to build capacity within the business. There are still challenges, a lot of challenges, but right now if a client comes and tells me I need 100 bags, I can tell them, yeah, sure, those ones we can make, you know. So if a client comes and tells me I need 500 bags, I'll tell them, first wait.
Because actually I was going to ask you,
you get
whether there are times when an entrepreneur, maybe I'll put it to Charles, when an entrepreneur can turn down an order and say, you know what, outrightly, not saying let's go back home and try to figure it out. Because you can tell I can chew this or I can't.
Yes.
That's a good one.
So it's pertinent to know what you can bite and what you can chew and swallow. So for the last, before COVID, I had started putting like things in place that we needed. Just in case, because I've done the business for 3 years, I knew the aspects that I was doing and they were giving me a challenge. So during that time, I was looking for solutions just to prepare the company for that time. Because I remember one of the major challenges was cutting by hand.
Okay.
Yeah?
Wow.
So I was like,
you cut and maintain the line?
Yes, you have a ruler, you have a cutter, and you hold the ruler by hand.
That's close to surgery. All right.
Yes. I did that. I tried to train someone to do that.
Okay.
But that was the aspect no one was grasping.
I hear you.
So I was like, there has to be a solution for this. So when I got a grant from one of our partners, immediately I said, if I don't put this money in this machine, we're not going to manage.
I get you. Now tell us something about partnership, because I'm seeing quite a strong value coming out strongly, Charles. Because if you look at even winning that international business connection, getting it, then now to partners, you know, probably you can speak more about how you've been able to build those partnerships, how you've been able to network and build these marketing opportunities and linkages. You know, how have you been able to do that? Because we've seen many entrepreneurs, they are in a way stagnant in their cocoon, in their area. You know, they are boxed in. So how have you been able to do that? And more so in a highly specialized area like leather?
I think for any business, partnerships are really the way to go. I wouldn't say that I've grown being on my own. Even just the people in this industry, like we have to talk, we talk to them. I talk to them like on a regular basis because they're facing the same challenges. But then you sit down with them and say, oh, okay, we have this problem. How do we handle it? Yeah, but for me, partnerships have really been important. but also my aspect, I think, of sales. When I get into a space, I'm a bit one of the vocal people. So I can't leave a room without saying, hi, my name is Isabel. I'm from Naroho Company Limited. Ask a question or give a submission. Now, when I do that, people have recognized that, oh,
there's Naroho.
There's Naroho. And we can work with Naroho.
Yes, yes.
But also, like people who come and train, people with knowledge. I've tried to get those people to be friends. Because as a small business, you don't have resources, frankly speaking. Now, if you say, oh, I need a consultant in this, how are you going to pay them? So my strategy has been, whoever is influential in any sector, make them your friend. Be open with them about your challenges, but also just invite them into your space. Yeah?
Get you.
Invite them into your space, ask them for advice. So, because right now we have the consultant from Ethiopia. He's offered us 2 weeks to help train the girls in shoemaking for free, as long as we cater for air ticket and meals.
Beautiful. Charles, I'd like to bring you in at this point.
Very good indeed. And what Isabel brings out in terms of partnerships is one thing we always try to tell any business person, that if you don't handle this type of partners well, you're in trouble. And these partners are suppliers of various things you need in your value chain process.
Yes.
Satisfaction of a customer sits in the middle of a triangle of 3 things. On the upper part of the triangle, you can see time, time of delivery. You want the leather delivered by wedding time. But the supply of the raw material, all those fellows there could be 3, 4, 5, 7 of them. If the man of glue delayed, all the others are on time, but the glue has delayed. There's no bag.
You cooked.
There's no bag. But time is key in that triangle of satisfaction. The other one is the cost. If you tried to raise the goats yourself, slaughter the goats yourself, process the skin yourself, you will not be as cost effective as somebody who is specialized in giving you a ternary ready raw material. Then of course the other one is the quality. Now the quality will depend on all these other inputs that you are getting from different partners. So appreciating that delivering a solution is a convergence of several players, and you are the center of influencing and directing all those players is a very key thing. So partnerships seems like a simple word, but determines the satisfaction of the customer.
Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Now, I have quite a number of viewers that have come in. One, they are asking where they can get some of these products, and I think you reach out to them or tell them as we wrap it up. That can come through. But I have Emuria Collier.
Emuria Collier?
Yes.
Emuria Collier?
Yes. Saying, what a journey from scratch to top leather designers in Uganda. Now, must say one point is key: never underestimate the power of small ideas.
Very good.
Once well crafted, can make you different.
Very good.
And I find that quite powerful, Charles.
It is. It is. It is. Because this lady, you saw where she came from, industrial fine artist, but could have just said, I'm going to be concentrating on painting. But later she begins to use that to go into another area totally different, extremely beautiful, but not many people have walked it.
I hear you.
And it was a small idea because she had to start somewhere in the sitting room. And it was a small idea because so many could have laughed at her and said, why didn't you join Mom instead in the restaurant? This one is just beginning. How many people are going to buy? So those small things need that inner voice which says, go for it, their customers.
And a bit related to that, I have Kasim from Kawempe.
He's
saying, at what stage did Isabella decide, now I should stop everything, other jobs in brackets, and concentrate on my own?
A good question.
That's a good question. For a small business, I don't think you can really stop everything until I don't think you can stop everything.
Impossible.
It's impossible. Because even up to today, if a client calls me and says, oh, I need this job printed, I'll go do it.
And the truth is, just to agree with you, some people may have known of a man who died some years ago, 2013 January, called James Mulwana.
Yes.
James Mulwana ended up in some 3 big enterprises,
Yes.
but was chairman in no less than 7 other businesses, which he did not even own.
Yeah.
In other words, there comes a time you multiply yourself and you are so available, but you continue to be very, very, very productive.
I hear you.
So the key thing here is whichever thing you say yes to, do you have time for it?
Yes.
That's very,
That's
very
very
key.
important.
That's a good
And
point.
2, do you know how that thing that you have said yes to, what are the key success factors? Once you have got those right, you have the time for the business, you know the key success factors to be in that particular space, it means you can now go in there and add value.
Beautiful.
Yes.
I have someone here, Charles, again talking about the Enterprise Uganda programs. He's saying, I thank Mr. Chichi. He told me accomplish, move was to lose. Yes. And he said he opened my eyes. I mastered the 5 givers of wealth.
Oh my
All
God.
credit from... Now, if you can walk us through the 5 givers of wealth, because especially at this time,
Yes.
when we hear the word givers of wealth,
Yes.
we pull the chairs.
You know, if there is anything we tell anybody who is walking into the space of business, we tell them that you will not last long there if you do not master, first of all, those 2 things that he just said.
Yeah.
Accomplish, move. In other words, whatever you have done today and it has gone well,
Yes.
don't celebrate on it for the next 7 years, or 7 months, or
Yes.
7 weeks, or 7 days.
Yes.
Pick lessons from there, move to the next level a bit higher, riding on the learnings of the previous achievement. Then again the next one, then again the next one, then again the next one. Many Africans, because of our environment, you begin to accomplish the showering of accolades, the showering of recognition will dampen the spirit to continue to grow.
Yeah.
So we give that principle, that phrase in Lunyankole way in Tungamu just the other week. Accomplish and move, we call it Maliriza Gomizamu. Maliriza Gomizamu. Keep moving. Keep moving.
I hear you.
Ongetak ikunyak, that's now in Ateso.
Yes.
Itieko mede, that's now in Luo. So it is such a statement we don't miss.
I hear you.
And we say that because in the space of the wealth givers, there are 5 wealth givers. One is the customer. A customer will buy from you today and even tomorrow. But should somebody start to add something a bit more than we have done, they want to move.
Yeah.
So be moving, because this is the giver of wealth. The moment is not there, forget wealth.
Yeah.
Number 2, this fellow does not come in without good workers. Number 3, you know the partnership we talked about?
Yes.
We put it there, suppliers.
Yeah.
Number 4, we talk about the government where you are working from. It can be in your village, it can be in your town, it can be in the nation.
Yes.
If these fellows do not fix issues to do with the electricity,
Roads and all that.
security, whatever, very bit, then the financials. That's where we get the bankers, the joint venture shareholders, all this.
Yes.
These 5 will keep you on the path to wealth.
Beautiful. I have Jonathan from Hoima. Jonathan is saying, I'm really inspired by her story. I and my wife are currently employed in distant districts, west and north of the country. We have been planning to start up a business together soon and quit employment, but we feel we need more guidance. Please, Charles, how can we get the opportunity to interact with you for more guidance?
I want to give my telephone number again and let people know that Enterprise Uganda is their very own organization. What Isabella has gone through, many have gone through, and we want many more to come and go through it.
Yes.
So I can be reached on telephone number 0772 699 808.
Okay. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, Isabella, I have someone here saying, thanks for the show. I would like to know her brand name. I'm a person who likes the finest of things, especially quality. I hope to be one of her customers. So you can just repeat that for emphasis.
The way the brand name sounds so exotic.
So our brand name is Naroho. You can find us on Facebook, Naroho 256. Instagram, Naroho 256. We're working on a website that will publish soon.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That's well quoted.
Naroho, that's N-A-R-O-H-O.
Okay.
Because I think our friends from the West most times say Nahoro.
Okay, okay.
And in Uganda here, I think we'll say Nalo.
Nalo.
Yes. Okay. I have another one saying, hello, thanks for the program. Which kind of advice does Isabella give to people with business ideas but fear to get started?
Oh, just like Charles said earlier, achieve, move. I think that's the same thing I would say for failure. You know, jump in, like start, just start. Tell one person, tell the next one, tell the third one, tell the fourth. Out of 10 people, you might find one person alone agrees with you or buys from you, but take that as a win. It's a very big win. Yeah, I've been in sales and they tell us you have to contact 30 people before you get one sale. You get,
Yes.
business is the same concept.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
Charles, I have someone here, he's called Pelon. He's saying, I've done very many businesses since 2013 up to today. They've all failed. I really want to settle, but all has failed. Your advice,
Tough
please.
one.
First of all, the 13 business, I don't know how many businesses she has done, but most likely there were other people in similar businesses. Did she understudy those players who in that
In the
similar
business,
space?
yes.
To get the key success factors on what it takes to succeed in any business, look at what Isabel is telling us here. Raw materials are key. How does she come to know about that? Because when she sees the leather products that are being sold, there's a type of raw material that is making them look exotic.
Yes.
So learn from the fellows who have been there before. Learn from experts in that kind of a space. Learn from suppliers of raw materials to the players in that space. They are suppliers of raw materials for leather products. They are supplying other fellows who are successful. Talk to them about how those ones who are successful are doing it. They may tell you the key thing here is now marketing.
Yes.
Yes.
The key thing now is this kind of raw material. Maybe this is skin of an animal. It's more productive than the other skin.
Yeah.
So there is somebody who has gone through that. If you want to be the only one to be making the errors first, ask yourself, why is the rubber of a pencil so small compared to the actual pencil?
Yes.
The learning from this long pencil here is from so many others, so that you rub rarely.
Yeah.
You rarely rub. But keep learning from many other people so that you are not rubbing all the time. You write, you are rubbing. You write, you are rubbing, because you are not learning.
I hear you. Beautiful, beautiful.
Different fellows.
Beautiful. Isabella, I have Naomi here from Oshia Hooks and Pearls. Is saying thanks for the program. I appreciate, it's quite exotic name. I appreciate Isabella for sharing her story. I've seen her bags, including the one she made herself and has owned for several years now. Great quality. My take home is know your target market and focus on keeping them satisfied with the best quality consistently.
Extremely.
I think that
Thank
is
you, Naomi.
well put. They've learned well. Now, again, I have about 3 people who are asking, do you have training opportunities and how can they get into them?
Yes. So right now we have training opportunities, but for specific ladies, because we really select them well, but we also can't have so many because of the financial strain on Naroho.
Yes.
But we're looking for partners to see how we can get partners to support the training so that we can train more women into this sector.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Now I have Florence. Florence is from Nakasongola. He's saying, tell us about your experience during the transition stage from job to concentrating on business. I know you hit a bit on that, but I think she wants more on that. Probably she hadn't yet joined us.
Yes. As I mentioned earlier, so I started a business selling curios. But when I was working for NTV, and I think I was tired of employment, I decided to do an MBA. But during the study period, and that's why I went to do an MBA, I knew I wanted to do business. So I was like, the best way to do this is probably increase on my business knowledge. But the ecosystem of doing business in Uganda doesn't relate at all with an MBA. It is really, it is tough. So I got the knowledge. I know I put it in practice sometimes, but the system is totally different. So after the MBA, I Even while studying, I was looking to what can I do. I have friends who were with me at Industry and Fine Art. Most of them are on Naroho doing printing, graphic design. So I was like, oh, since my friends are there, maybe it's an industry I could join. So I talked to one of them. He's like, yeah, it's a good place. But when I went to Naroho, I couldn't do the design.
Yes.
I wasn't interested in it, sitting on a computer doing design. So from that business, I was like, okay, but maybe I can sell to the clients, get the business, get someone to do design, and you know. But I found even that was still not motivating me. It wasn't really, the passion wasn't there, but I was just doing it because I needed finance at the time. So when I was walking on the street and I saw the sandal, and I bought raw materials to make it, the first day of making those sandals, I was standing, first of all, the whole day, designing, cutting, putting them together. Leather is really manual work, and there is not a lot of sitting. But by the end of the day, I still felt that I wasn't tired.
Yes.
So that clicked for me. I was like,
this is my
thing. This might actually be my thing.
Yes.
So I just continued the next day and the next day. And when I could do it and I'm not tired, I was like, okay, this is it for me. But up to now, I still do printing.
Okay.
Because already I have the contacts, I have the suppliers, but it's a printing job that I look at and I'm like, is it worth my time now?
Very good.
You know, is it worth my time now? So I have to weigh and say, okay, this is a good thing. It will help my personal finances. I can do it for 2 hours. That won't affect Naroho much. So I go and do the job, then I go back to work.
Beautiful. I have Sarah here. Sarah is saying, Isabella, do you make leather belts as well? Maybe you can just, again, remind our viewers of some of the products you're making. And kindly share your contact number for further consultation. Again, I think you'll share that as, we move along.
So some of the products we make are ladies' sandals, men's sandals, men's leather belts. We don't make ladies' leather belts yet because we have a challenge of buckles. So yes, so the accessories. For the bags, we make men's bags, ladies' bags. We make wallets for ladies, wallets for men, and we make like corporate gifts, like book covers, card holders, pen holders, messenger bags, but also document carry bags, which we've found are very successful with corporate gifts. Because I think people want to give something so that people stop walking around with brown envelopes. So when you have that bag, at least you're not moving around with brown envelopes into every office.
Correct.
So it makes you look a bit more presentable, but decent as well.
I hear you. I like the business mind, Charles.
It's the authentic confidence. When you walk into someone's office, you're confident and you're with everything that makes you confident.
All right.
Yes.
Interesting. Now I have Juma. Juma is saying, he's a shoemaker from Kawempe.
Yes.
He's saying, do you accommodate those that are midway into the business? You know?
In what way?
They are into leather products business, but of course the training and everything, because from the long message he sent, he seems to be really taken by the aspect of stitching and attention to quality. And probably that's an area where he's lacking.
They're struggling to get that right.
In other words, do you offer internships?
Currently, we don't offer internships. It's something probably we'll look into. But I'm passionate about the leather sector. And I would like more players who are producing products of quality to come into the market. Something that I've discussed with a colleague is probably seeing how we can get a day in some of the workshops. Like if you have a small workshop, we can come and just see what you're doing and see how we guide you. Because if you're already in the leather sector, the stitches, that's something that can easily be rectified even with your own space. So you don't have to come for training and what. You just need now guidance, and that's where the partnership comes in, the mentorship, you know. Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. Charles, again, because we are nearing the end of our interface, and I don't know what you really want our viewers in a nutshell to pick from this engagement today.
Clearly, the story that we have hosted this evening brings out a few salient aspects about enterprise. One, don't underestimate what you learned necessarily at school. You can actually put it into practice. But do not also wait until it comes in a way that is so structured. You can just get that light bulb one time just triggering and you get yourself started. So the second point is that no matter what kind of engagement in business you want to get into, start. And the starting can be rugged. You learn along the way. But also three, it is important to recognize the influence sometimes our family backgrounds have on us. You'll find that this lady here would have been saying, you know what, with my degree now, business, I should be taking it as something out of the way or something like that. She valued that background, and she was proud to go into that space in rugged form to start an enterprise. And then fourthly, no space is out of reach for an entrepreneur. Leather industry, adding value, is top notch. She just comes from nowhere and enters that space and begins to speak the language. And now she's speaking with a foot deeply and firmly rooted. She can do it. So Uganda should begin to appreciate that we can change our country through this kind of entrepreneurial pursuits, but be willing to learn along the way.
And we're talking about import substitution now. Because government is purely pursuing that.
We're wasting a lot of leather. A lot.
Beautiful. Isabel, as you wrap this up, point to us some of your plans. What are you looking at, you know, in the future, and what message would you want to pass on to aspiring potential entrepreneurs, especially the ladies who are watching this show? And young people, of course.
There are very many opportunities in this country. There are like so many opportunities in this country. What I think is spoiling most people is they look at someone in an industry and they're like, oh, Isabel is doing so well, let me join leather. And then they're not doing their background work. But if you really get something, or if you have an idea, and you're passionate about it, just start. Jump in. If you're working in an office, take 1 hour off and start pursuing. And so with my background in industrial art, I've not done a leather course. I've not done a bag design course. So that meant I had to reteach myself everything. How are patterns made? I went on YouTube.
See?
How are patterns made? Every day, the people I follow on Instagram are leather producers from Japan, the US, German, because these people, when they post something, they're showing a technique. So I look at it, I'm like, oh, I've been having a challenge with this. So you pick it, you know? So it's been a journey of self-teaching yourself, and every day I'm still learning. You get? So people think they'll come in, oh, Isabel made 1 million, I'll also make 1 million in my first gig. It doesn't happen that way. You might come in and actually make 50 million more than Isabel. But after the 50 million, you might not make money for the next 2 years. Are you going to jump out?
Correct.
You know?
Correct.
So it takes a lot of work. It takes patience. It takes interest. If I didn't know how to stitch, cut, put a bag together, I don't think the factory would still operational today. So I took interest and said, okay, I first need to know. So if the person stitching doesn't come in, I can stitch. If the person who does this doesn't come in, I can do that aspect. But the business of hands off, everyone will do something for me. for me, I feel in Uganda, it's really hard.
That's beautiful. But I like the idea, Charles, of optimizing the opportunities that the information age where we sit today presents. Because if you look at the amount of time young people spend on social media,
Correct.
True.
Instagram,
Yeah.
there's the new terms. I don't know whether you're familiar, you know, with them, Charles. Slay queens and everything.
Yes.
Now, instead of slaying, why don't you go through these videos, learn a few things? Yeah?
If there be one word that we are very good at quoting and regurgitating all the time, what was that statement when Solomon was asked a question, ask of me anything and I'll give it to you?
Yeah.
We all know it is wisdom.
Indeed.
Yes.
Wisdom starts from acquiring that information, analyzing information becomes knowledge. Once it's knowledge, started to apply it, goes to becoming a skill. And as you start sharing that skill, you go to the space of wisdom.
Yes.
So if only we spend more time in that so-called social media and having so many followers, but the followers are telling you, yesterday I bought your leather bag, if only you could make sure that these corners are also cut well. But the followers are all over you, no idea they are giving to you.
Indeed.
But you are ticking the numbers. And after the followers have followed you, what are you buying in the next day on your own without having to go back to mommy and daddy? You have so many followers, but we just get transport from Bugolobi to town. Suddenly you come to the basics, mommy, I want transport.
How do you monetize that? And that's what we are teaching you here.
Correct.
Thank you, viewers. Charles, we've almost come to the end of this, but I'm having about 10 questions, all asking me about Enterprise Uganda programs.
These programs are going to explode in action starting next year. This year has been fairly slow, but we've done all we can to make sure that even in a difficult year, together with the Minister of Finance and the government and other partners, we continue to have our feet on the ground. We've just come from Ntungamu at Chamate SS, where we had more than 1,000 people surrendering their mindsets and their souls into the game of entrepreneurship. So Ugandans should believe and trust that their institution that has been in the market for 21 years is here to make the game much, much more vibrant in 2023.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you, viewers. That's all the time we had for this evening. And I'm sure you picked some lessons. As you can see, we're picking people from different areas, different sectors. We've spoken to farmers, we've spoken to ranchers, we've spoken to manufacturers, and today we have a designer in the house. Honestly speaking, you can't fail to pick your sector. You can't fail to pick a number among all these. Of course, the principles, by and large, can stay the same in business. And we are keen, of course, with partnership with Enterprise Uganda, with Ministry of Finance, to make this clear and as close to you as possible. Because the closest bit you can be actually to anyone is being in their sitting room. And that's what we're doing. So until next time, I've been your host, Charles Woji. Thank you, Charles, and thank you, Isabel.
Thank you.
Have a good evening and God bless.